Well, hey guys, I hope everyone is doing great and adjusting to the time change without too much stress. I love doing comparisons between similar models of handguns. Sometimes it's a bit of a stretch, which can be fun in its own way, but today I'm comparing two very similar pistols. Both released in the second half of this year, the Springfield Armory Echelon comp and the M&P 2.0 Steel Carry comp are both hoping to get your attention. I've looked at them each separately, so I won't go into crazy detail. You can watch each of those reviews. But what I wanted to do here was point out what I think are the key differences between them. So let's hit the range and get this show on the road. Doing a comparison or a head-to-head between the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Carry Comp and the new Echelon Comp model seemed like a no-brainer. And as you know, no-brainers are my specialty. So I thought I would just sort of do it in a fun way. I am going to try and do a little bit of sciencey stuff, so you'll definitely want to stick around for that. But I'm going to start out by just seeing if I can destroy that target downrange a little bit. That is the TA Targets Mini Vital Zone. Let's see what kind of damage we can do. I have mounted an optic on both of these guns, which I previously did not have. That was the M&P. Now, Echelon. So I've got both of these optics roughly zeroed. And by roughly zeroed, I mean, I'm happy with where the group was within a 2 or 3 inch circle. So I should be good to go, but keep in mind there could be a little bit of variation just between where those optics are zeroed. All right, go back to the M&P for a minute. And let me just get a sense on both of these for the feel of it overall, because it really is about the compensator, that ported barrel, that I'm trying to evaluate. I will say this about this Smith. It's fun to shoot, and I seem to shoot it pretty nice, so I like that. Echelon has been a favorite for a long time, ever since it first came out. And they are both getting it done. And from just a general feel, without paying too much attention to it while I was shooting, the compensation feels really nice. They both feel fairly flat, but there's not no recoil. It's just a little smoother. So for a lot of folks, when you're looking for a new handgun and you're looking maybe for a new handgun with a ported barrel, that built-in compensator, you may already have a brand preference. You may already be somebody who owns several Springfield Armory handguns and you want to just stick with that brand because you know it and you've had good experience. Or you may be a Smith & Wesson fan. You've got a lot of Smith & Wessons and you just want to stick with that brand. But there are a lot of people who don't have a particular brand preference, or they're not sort of, married into one particular brand's product line. Those are the people I'm trying to serve with this video. But for the rest of you guys who may be looking at this and going, well, I really don't care either way. I have no dog in the fight. I just want to get a handgun with a ported barrel, and these seem to be two really good options. For you, I'm going to try to give you some information to compare and contrast the two. That's the point. Echelon, ported. The recoil is, softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a ported gun. The recoil is softer as we expect from a
It feels like to me the recoil goes straight up. I'll be interested to look at this video too when I get back and do my editing, because it feels to me when I'm shooting like the recoil is tending to send the gun a little bit more just kind of straight up and down like this, rather than back like this at an angle. I know that is probably almost certainly not true, but that's how it feels from behind the gun. So M&P now, pay a little attention to that and see how that feels. Similar. Not quite as noticeable, but very similar to that same raising recoil rather than kicking back recoil. Okay, I'm going to repeat a test I did in the first review, actually for each of these guns. I'm going to do the recoil measurement test using the Mantis X10. So I'm going to do 5 shots just standing, and let's measure those and see what they are for each gun. And then I'll rest it on a sandbag, so I have a little bit more control, and I'll see if that makes any difference. I'm doing that partially for me. I want to learn in the future, if I'm doing these tests, do I need to really rest the gun, or am I okay to just stand and shoot? All right, hit start on the Mantis device, and I'm going to do 5 rounds. Okay. All right, so I've got all those. Now 5 rounds through the Echelon, same game plan.
When I reviewed each gun initially, I measured the recoil angle using the Mantis X system. And I did those measurements again with the 2 of them, but this time I also rested it on a bag to help get a solid starting position.
Okay, 5 rounds rested so that hopefully I can control my bouncing around and get better readings. Let's see how that goes. This is the Echelon. Okay, back on the M&P, and let's do those 5. Okay, when I get back into the studio and I'm doing my editing and all that, I'll take another look at those numbers and capture them and present them, but it looks like they're very close. So the one thing that I don't have as much influence on is muzzle rise, and that's because I'm using the same grip, the same firmness of hold. You know, my desire is to keep the gun as flat as possible in both cases, and so that's where I have the least amount of effect. The only way you could take the human element out of it totally would be to use a machine, and you know, some sort of vise to rest the gun in. I don't have budget for that, and quite honestly, don't have patience for that.
The Mantis X measures a lot of data points during recoil, but for this test I was really only interested in looking at the average muzzle rise as measured in degrees of angle. The Echelon comp has an average muzzle rise of 15.01 degrees. The M&P steel carry comp was 13.62 degrees. There's still some human influence on the test, but it's the same human on the same day, just minutes apart, and I was trying to shoot them exactly the same. The Echelon comp has a wider port that sends the gas out in a more fan-like pattern, upward, whereas the M&P comp is a more focused port, aiming the gas straight up. Does that account for the slight difference? I really don't know. I'm not an engineer, and this test was far from thorough or flawless. But based on basic observation, it would appear that it could be a factor. But for regular practical shooting, I really didn't feel that one of them surpassed the other one much. I think they both made a difference that you can feel, and they both felt really close to the same. The key specs also show some slight difference among the great many similarities. The Smith is a slightly shorter gun in length, barrel and slide, but the height is identical for both. Maybe the most noticeable difference is the weight, which isn't a lot, but about 4 ounces more on the Smith. But keep in mind, it has a metal frame, and the Springfield has a polymer frame. They both come with 2 magazines. The Echelon includes a 20-round extended magazine, where that's allowed. The standard capacity for both of the guns is 17 rounds. And they're both offered in lower capacity versions, where infringement exists. They both have fully ambidextrous controls, which adds to the overall width a little bit, usually across those slide release levers. But in the hand, they both feel nice and ergonomic. Both guns have an excellent set of sights, and neither of them, as configured here, can co-witness with the optics that I mounted on them. The Echelon was almost able to, but not quite. Both can be fitted with taller sights, if that's needed. Both triggers are outstanding. I'd have a hard time finding a preference between them. I went back and forth from one to the other all day at the range, and the triggers didn't really make any impression on me at all. They're dead even. The Echelon has a considerably lower price as compared here, but again, that's due to the M&P being the metal frame version. I like them both. To me, they are very close matches at the very top of the food chain of handguns, but you might have specific criteria or needs that you need to consider, and I hope this video might help with that. One thing I do know, I had a lot of fun making this video, and I hope you had at least some fun watching it.
You know, having these 2 really nice guns here at the range is sort of like having 2 really good instruments. You know, it's a Smith & Wesson and a Springfield Armory, but it could just as easily be a Fender and a Gibson. And when you've got 2 really nice instruments in your hand, you might as well play a song. There's only one song I really know. The Song of My People. It goes like this. Aha, caught you dancing.
Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I like to read them, and I will chime in on the discussion from time to time. You can really support the channel and help me keep content flowing just by hitting like and being a subscriber. I'm on Patreon too, if you want to support me that way. Look down in the description of this video and you'll see several discount codes and some affiliate links. You can save significant money on products that I use and highly recommend. And if you think this video was especially helpful for you, or you just want to say thanks, there's a button down there that says thank you. It's a YouTube thanks button. It's kind of like leaving a tip if you feel like you got good service. Once again, this is just an opinion. Thanks for watching.